prepare yourselves, for it is time to embark on fetch questing with your guides, Zonda and Elgwin.
Sir, it's Zach and Chris.
Zach and Chris, let us now embark. It's a gaming podcast.
Bonsuego! Welcome to another episode of Fetch Questing. I'm your host, as always, Chris. With me this week, as always, is Zach.
Chimichanga, you guys.
Chimichanga?
Yeah.
What about chickadee china of the Chinese chicken?
You have a drumstick, your brain starts kicking? Is it kicking or ticking? I can never remember.
I think it's ticking.
I think it's ticking, but I always think your brain should be kicking and your heart should be ticking, see?
Watching X-Files with no lights on. With Donna Mace on.
Yep. I hope the smoking man's in this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Bare naked ladies.
I just always like that song because I just like the X-Files. I was like, oh, cool.
Oh, yeah.
They like the X-Files also. Maybe.
Oh my gosh,
I don't.
yeah, they talked about X-Files in a song. Wow.
Yeah. It's super popular right now. Maybe that's why. So
right,
yeah,
exactly.
I don't know if they actually like the X-Files or if they're just.
We can hope. I think we can. We kind of form our own realities, and I think in our reality we can just say they do.
I mean, if you know who the Smoking Man is, you kind of, I guess you've at least seen the X-Files.
Or they have writers who've seen it.
somebody in the Bare Naked Ladies likes the X-Files.
So.
One of them. I don't know if it's the whole band, but one of them.
Yeah, that's fair. Isn't it just two guys?
I think it's three guys.
Okay.
Isn't it?
I think
they just have a guitar, a bassist, and then a drummer. I
just know they have. I guess they have the two lead vocalists. But and this is our topic of the week, guys. We're just talking Bare Naked Ladies. This is a very special Bare Naked Ladies episode.
I couldn't name one other song, but I don't even know the name of that song.
1 week. That's it. Because of the whole thing. It was it was top of the charts for a week. And then they joked about, we should have named it 3 months.
Yeah.
Ho, 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 ho. And also I've listened to, actually, my favorite Christmas music is the Bare Naked Ladies Christmas album. So in a couple months from now, in 5 months from now, pop that sucker on. It's good stuff.
There are 4 of them, actually.
Oh, see, I know nothing about them, I guess. I just know the two lead vocalists.
My favorite thing to do with bands is just like they have their timeline, and it's like these are all the people that were in the bands. Most bands, it's just like this person was here this time and then this time, and you're just like, man, that must be complicated. Why would you want to ever be in a band?
It's like when you go and then you go see them live, you're like, okay, so who am I really seeing here? Am I actually seeing, like when I saw Styx, I felt good about it because everybody was original, other than the keyboard player, but he's been with them since the 90s anyway, so it's good enough.
I mean, I feel like if you've been in the band for like 10 years, it's fine.
Oh, totally.
Okay, yeah, they also wrote the theme song to Big Bang Theory.
Oh, right. And Malcolm. No. Why am I thinking of that? Was They Might Be Giants. I was like, Malcolm in the Middle, but that's They Might Be Giants. Not even similar.
I actually watched I don't know why I did it, but I watched the last scene of that show, of the Big Bang Theory. I was just like, I'm just curious. I just want to see.
Is the last scene, is that the one where he's in the... I watched the scene from the last episode where he's like saying thank you because he won the Nobel Prize.
Yeah, it's like that.
Last scene, or?
It's like that, and then it goes into like them sitting on the couch and stuff like that. But it's,
okay.
And then like the song is playing really slow. And I was just like... Having watched like the first 4 seasons of that show,
yeah, I think I watched the first 2 back in the day, and
being fine with them.
Yeah,
I thought the first 4, like it's like up until in the end of the 4th season, that's when Sheldon meets Amy Farrah Fowler, and you're just like, this is gonna go off the rails. And then like I watched a little bit, I think, of the next season. It was just about him like interacting with her, and it was bad. And then I stopped watching it, but to like see the end and be like, man, this is just weird, and not that like it's unrealistic. It's just weird that like that's the dynamic of the show. And there's still some parts of it, like I went back and tried to watch like the beginning of that episode, and there were still some parts of it, it's just like, this is just like very boilerplate like sitcom.
Yes.
And so it's weird how that show went from like being very distinct to like turning into like Friends.
Yeah, that's exactly what it did. Is it just
not good. That's the difference. It's like it's just not good. It's just like, they're scientists, and Sheldon wears a Flash shirt.
It was like Friends, except they didn't understand actual nerd culture. I've got a coworker who's always like, "Why don't you like that show? This is you. Like, those are you people. You know, that's who you are." Except not smart. Like, I mean, he's a funny guy, but he's also an asshole. He's like, yeah, I mean, that's just who you are, isn't it? But, you know, just without being smart. And I'm like, shut up. And no, it's not, because nobody actually acts like that. I mean, I guess some people do.
Well,
but
I'll say this. There is no, like, that many people together. Like you may, like, know those people, but the likelihood that all 5 of those people are all hanging out, all happen to work in, like, all in science, you know, and happen to all be the same, that's where it's like, that's probably highly unlikely, you know?
And it's just all this, I don't know, like, they're just too incredibly nerdy. I feel like most nerds, it's just not a thing anymore. Like, everybody plays video games. Everybody knows, you know, what Comic-Con is. Everybody,
Well, and also the weird thing is, like, the video games they're into, you're just like, no, like, if they were actually into video games, they would be playing, like, new shit. They would be like, let's get together and play Mario Kart. Like, Sheldon would be into, like, hardcore, like, fucking MMOs. Like, he'd be the dude that's still playing WoW.
Yeah, it's written by people who still think, like, about gamers from the 90s or early 2000s. Like they think that's what gaming is. Remember Grandma's Boy? Like, have you ever seen that one?
Yeah.
That's a good movie, and it does okay with the game development side, but, like, it's the same type of people where it's like nobody's actually like this. People who work in game design, you know, treat it like an actual job. They aren't just playing games all the time, and it's funny. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird, and that show's weird. Yeah, because that's the thing I think that's annoying is people assume that you like that show.
Because they're like, oh, yeah, you like superheroes and you like video games. And I'm like, yeah.
Well, in reality,
you like that show. It's like, no, I don't like being made to feel like I'm some kind of weirdo for liking these things.
Yeah,
like,
it feels very
are subhuman.
patronizing to us.
Yeah,
you know?
That's it. It's very patronizing.
And the thing is, I'm like, okay, they're really not that nerdy. Like, they're nerdy in the sense that they're like geeks. They're like super into science.
Yeah.
And they all just happen to be into comic books. All of them.
But it lays that framework like, okay, you have to be into all these things, and if you're into one of them, you're obviously into all of them.
But then the things that
when somebody asks you about it, oh my gosh, hilarity ensues. I can't believe you don't know what a subatomic particle is and how the Flash interacted with it in comic book number 74.
But that's it. It's literally just that. That's why people don't get it. And I'm like, no, that's why I don't like it, because it's like, I'm into comic books, so, like, I don't want to watch some dude that just, like, misrepresents comic books. And it's like, hey, I'm into science, but the only thing nerdy that I'm into is comic books. And, like, okay, Star Wars. It's a very general, like, I like comic books. And it's also it's like the main staple of the Justice League. You know, even with, like, the pops that just came out, they were, like, all the Justice League. And you're like, yeah, of course they're into Batman and The Flash and Aquaman, like, and Wonder Woman. You're like, okay, yeah, these are in Green Lantern. Like, yeah, everyone knows who they are. It's not like, you know, Raj is into, like, Namor. He's like, yeah, I really like Namor. Yeah, the Submariner. Or, like, Sheldon's like, man, I'm really into the Reverse Flash. Or Kid Flash. Or, like, you know, it's weird stuff like that, you know, or it's like, yeah, it's like, or, you know, what's his face is like, I'm into Flashpoint Batman, where it's actually Thomas Wayne. That's what I'm into, because he fucking has guns and shit. It's like, they don't ever actually talk about nerdy shit. They just stand in a comic book and they're like, got it. Yeah, we get it. You have a lot of comic books that I've also never seen. They're just in your bedroom somewhere, you know? And then
it was just a show made for people who, like, don't understand nerd culture, to help them feel like they do understand nerd culture when they still don't.
Yeah, and it was right at that precipice of stuff, like, really becoming part of that. And so
it was like when Iron Man and
it makes sense that the show was still on for so long, because it was like, you know, people may have missed the original seasons of that show. By the time they came to it in the 5th or 6th season, it was a sitcom. So like, yeah, I've seen Iron Man, I know who Batman is, I've seen all this stuff, so it's funny that they do this stuff, and that, yeah, they're really nerdy, haha. I'm not nerdy, so I think it's funny. And it's like the most base level humor that you can have for somebody that is nerdy.
Yep.
And you're
that's
like,
exactly it.
great, it's just a weird. Sorry to divulge into my thoughts
that
about
was,
that
yeah,
show,
that's
but
very, very random, especially since it's ended for like a month or two now.
yeah, I just
But,
I don't care. Just like I just randomly thought about it. I was like, you know what? I never saw I just wonder how that show ended, and so I
Yeah.
watched it, and I was just like, I mean, the ending was better, but it was really like I get that Sheldon kind of came around. I was like, yeah, I'm thanking all of these people because they actually helped me, and I'm just like, I still don't believe that Sheldon would ever do that. If Sheldon is actually, you're telling me that he grew, but in the beginning of this episode, he was very much acting like Sheldon.
Yeah,
So
see,
it's like
that's the problem.
for
Like,
for
if you're
for
gonna- if you're
actual
gonna-
character arc, that person changes. That means Sheldon would
If it
be
ha-
like
yeah.
that all the time.
if it's going to be growth, it has to be gradual, and you have to like not even notice it until you go back to the earlier seasons. You're
Yeah.
like, oh shit, like and then you rewatch, and you're like, oh yeah, I see where this person kind of did something out of character here, or out of character here, because they were growing. It can't just be like in the course of one episode in your finale.
But it still came to the point where he still had like a 90-minute speech going into this thing, but then suddenly decided that he should thank his friends because that was
Yeah.
important, Like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, that's the gist of what I
you
got
do
of
you.
it too.
You do you show, but going
And
to
now we can all
characters and
watch
comic
Young
books.
Sheldon.
Yeah, fuck, that ended too though. That ended with it.
But that season just ended. I think it's still going.
No, I think
isn't
it ended also. I
Oh,
think it
that's
like
good.
coincided and ended with that. But yeah, I mean, I never watched that show. That just seemed even more irritating.
Right. I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna see if it's done or not. But it did look super irritating.
Yeah,
But,
Young Sheldon. I think it ended.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if it did, it only had like 2 or 3 seasons. 44 episodes. First episode is 2017. Did Young Sheldon get canceled? February 22nd, 2019, it has renewed
Oh, did
Young
get renewed?
Sheldon for
Okay.
additional 2 seasons beginning in 2019 and 2020.
Okay,
So it's still going.
on.
So we can still get our fix.
Good old Chuck Lorre,
Yep.
God.
Well,
But
Where do you want to go from here?
so I guess since we're talking about comic books,
Yeah, I
we'll go
think
right into the Marvel stuff because it
think
is
that's a
Comic
great
Con.
idea.
It's Comic Con week, so like I said, I don't have much game stuff. I mean, or unless you want to get the game stuff out of the way because I don't
we
have
could
much.
very quickly because I
um,
don't either.
Yeah, and then we can just get into like Comic Con stuff and news for this week. So the only thing I've been playing some more Dragon Quest XI, and I've been kind of chipping away at that. The summer event started for Overwatch, so I've been playing that. Me and Ashley have been playing that. I played Ashley actually sat with me and we played a little bit of Detroit, so she was watching me play that.
Oh yeah.
And that's fine. It's kind of a
Forgot
boring.
that
It's kind of
was
a
free.
boring game, but
Yeah.
it looks really nice. So it's like one of those things that you're just like, man, this looks really nice, and it's like, I don't know, it's the interaction is a little better than what they've done in previous games. But we'll just have to see where it goes. I think I might beat it just to beat it because I've played all the other ones. But other than that, I dabbled in. I got Breath of the Wild for PC, so I've been like messing around with that.
Chris, how did you do that?
I got a Wii U emulator. That's how I got
Oh.
that. Yeah.
Have you messed with any mods? That's what if
Yeah.
I ever did that, it would just be for mods.
Yeah. Well, I tried to send you a video, but it was like super big. So
Yeah, I got to see a little bit of it, but I didn't see anything different.
yeah. That game looks incredible.
Oh yeah.
Like night and day. It's like when it runs.
See, we're different people about our mods, because when I say mods, I think like playing as Goku and fighting Shrek, and you think like, oh yeah, up-resing everything and making it look beautiful.
Yeah,
and
well, I mean, there is I've
faster
got
frame rates and
I've got mods on there. Like I have infinite health, infinite arrows. Like I have
That's
all
fun.
that shit on. Infinite
Yeah.
stamina. Which starting that game with infinite stamina is incredible, because you just run. Like
yeah,
I
you just do
also
anything you want.
that first tower I just jumped off of.
Yeah,
Because I was like, I have an infinite health. It doesn't matter. I just jumped off the tower.
you'll never get the parachute. the
No, you do.
parasail.
You do. He just comes up to you after that.
Oh, yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. 'Cause- I mean, but I didn't have to climb down like you normally do in the.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know. I didn't. So it was just nice because I was just like, well, fuck it. I'm just going to jump. I can just climb any tower. It doesn't matter.
I thought you meant you just jumped off the Great Plateau and just started going.
Oh, no. I just jumped off that first tower. But yeah, I mean, it does look, it's crazy. Because it's one of those things that, the few times where you see like people remake like Ocarina of Time, like Unreal 4 or something. You're like, oh, that looks cool. But this is one of those things where, again, it makes you think, you're like, man, if Nintendo just had a powerful console, shit would just look, because their engine just scales. That's all it is. It's just like scaling that engine and up-resing it, where it's like, dude, like every blade of grass is like textured and detailed. Like,
yeah, like it's all there.
The goblins. It's just
they don't make a strong enough console to really let you appreciate it. Yeah.
And you see it, and there's mods for like more clouds and more foliage and like
that's cool.
All this other stuff, and that stuff's really cool. But I was like, yeah, it's just kind of cool to walk around that game, and also like your weapons don't degrade. So they put some stuff in there where you're just like,
that's nice. I mean, it definitely pulls from some of the original, takes away some of the original vision of the game, obviously, but if you've played it.
Yeah, for me, it's like I've just played the game, so like going back into it, and just seeing it like up-resed and pushed to this max limit and everything. And also like the draw distance, you can just take the draw distance out so you can see like forever when you're on the Great Plateau. There's none of that fog or anything, and it's just crazy because you're like, man, it's like seeing, it's almost like they were like, it's like there's something on the screen when you're playing the Switch version, and you just like wipe it off and you're like, oh, there's the game.
Oh, that's
and it's
funny.
Just this cool thing where you're just like, man, this all just looks fucking great, and you're just like, man, I wish this was the game, or they would just, because even if they pitch it on the Switch, but they also pitch it on PC, like people I think would still buy their consoles.
I don't think they'll ever do that.
No, they'll never do it. It's like that's something that, I mean, obviously Microsoft owns Windows, so it's very different for them. But they're smart enough now to know that, like, hey, people are going to buy our shit. They might have an Xbox and they might have a PC, so let's just let them play both. It doesn't matter. Yeah,
it seems obvious, but it took so long, so I guess not.
And so it's like I try not to get my brain, like, caught in that loop where you're just like, man, I wish Nintendo would do that, because they're never going to do it. And even if they released, like, a Switch Pro, it would never be like what my PC is.
Yeah,
so it's
true.
It's one of those things that it's like, but even in getting like Mario Kart 8 and a couple of these other games that were Wii U games, that it's like, okay, there's really no way to play these other obviously than hooking up a Wii U, but just seeing those games like up-resed and going like, man, this looks, even Mario Kart 8, which had a Switch port, still looks way better. And the biggest thing is just like frame rates in those games, like especially Breath of the Wild, like that makes or breaks that game sometimes, when it would like stutter on your Switch, even if it was docked and stuff like that. It's like to not have to worry about that, and I could basically just like roll forever and like nothing ever happens. Like it never has.
I was gonna say, well, just kind of thinking of that, not to take you off that train of thought, but have you seen all the stuff about the Switch Joy-Con, the drifting sticks?
Yeah, it's weird.
I didn't realize it was a whole big thing, because when I think I mentioned on the podcast that I had we watched our friend's son a couple weeks ago. He's like 6, 7, and he brought his Switch, and we played through Zelda a lot together, and like I remember talking about it now. It was really nice to see him solve the puzzles and stuff like that. But his stick was drifting the whole time, and he seemed kind of used to it. But literally, which again is also impressive, because every time I would take over, it's like I had to fight the stick the whole time. The camera kept, trying to give me an overhead view, and every time I was aiming arrows, they would just go down. And I thought it was just his console. I thought it was, just because he's a kid and he's probably too rough on him, which I've never seen him be rough on him. So anyway, that was just, experienced that firsthand. Now I'm seeing, a lawsuit against it and all these people online with it, and I'm just, just kind of, it made it feel real.
I think I wonder, though, is like,
I have 2 sets. Mine are fine.
That's what I'm wondering. I wonder if it's like a newer process that happened, with the Switches, and it's like the newer ones are, like obviously we had the Joy-Cons that were like fucked up in the beginning. Yeah, like some people did with that version, and they reiterated it. See, neither did I, because the thing is, I bought other Joy-Cons.
Right.
So I wonder if it's just like super specific.
I didn't even buy new Joy-Cons until like beginning of summer or maybe it was spring this year. So I've had the same Joy-Cons for 2 years.
See, I have the neon yellow ones. I've got
Yeah.
those, and I like those. But yeah, I've never had any issue. And I mean, the thing is also, I don't play my Switch that much. Like.
Well, and that's the thing as well. When I play my Switch, I am usually using the Pro controller. So maybe if I just used mine in handheld mode or use the Joy-Cons more, it would happen to mine too. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's what I wonder if it's just a like, hey, these people are using it more than I am, and maybe something happens in the stick that breaks, and because of use, and its wear and tear. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't really looked into it because it didn't affect me, so I was like, whatever.
Yeah, and I had never thought about it until then. Well, and again, I just thought it was his problem he was having himself, but now I'm seeing all these issues. I almost need to. Well, I'll keep an eye out for if they come up with a solution, because so far there's nothing. But send that to that family, to his dad, and be like, hey, you might want to check this out, because Joy-Cons are expensive. They're like $80. I'm not gonna go and
it's crazy. Yeah,
I'm not gonna tell him to buy spend $80 just because the console is the hardware itself is effed up. That's messed up. They should be doing something about it.
Yeah, that's so weird. Yeah, it just came out of nowhere. Yeah, it
did, and it's pretty prevalent.
Yeah, you can't have any good Nintendo news without bad Nintendo's news.
That's the truth.
Like, here's this Switch Lite. Also, all the Joy-Cons are breaking.
Right.
Also, Pokemon animations.
Yeah.
Also, you gotta balance it out.
Bloodstain doesn't work. I'm trying to think what else.
Yeah. This is why you don't have Switch as your main console.
Right.
It's always been from day one. That's any Nintendo system. From like the dawn of, except for like the Super Nintendo, that was okay to have.
Nintendo 64 was cool.
Yeah, I mean, even then,
that's the last.
But all games were kind of broken then anyway, so you were okay.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
You didn't use the GameCube as like your primary system, Like, so since the GameCube, they've been doing this stuff.
We did, but we were definitely weird for it. Like all my friends either had a Microsoft or a PS2. Or Microsoft. They had an Xbox or a PS2. And we were the weird ones with the GameCube.
See, I think it's weird. I've been lucky enough to always kind of have them all, and it's only because I've either like saved my own money. Because usually what I would do is I'd be like, all right, I'd ask my grandparents for one of them, ask my parents for one of them, and then save money for that third one.
There you go.
And they used to not also come out all at the same time. It wasn't like they were just
that
like,
too.
It wasn't like, all right, well, you're going to have to buy all of these at the same time.
Well, we ended up getting a PS2 Slim when that came out. So it was fine, but yeah, that was back when it was okay to like, okay, this one system will get me by for a while. And then I'll get the second system maybe, and I can, but yeah, now it's like, all right, here you go. Here's your next decision.
Well, yeah.
No way you're going to buy two or three of them at the same time.
Yeah. And even then I got an Xbox, but my grandparents just got me an Xbox. It wasn't something that I had asked for. I guess my mom just thought I want one. And the thing is, I ended up using it as like a thing where I just played CDs on because it had that cool, like, animation thing when you played CDs. The visualizer. And so, like, that's what my Xbox was. And I played a few things on it.
How pleased we were back in the day.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, man, this thing would... Well, and back then, dude, it's like I was a teenager, man. All I was listening to was music, man. So that was like my life, man. It was like, all right, I'm gonna play these RPGs and listen to some rock music. Like that's what I did.
Put that visualizer on, that sweet visualizer.
Yeah, I'd like read comic books and like put that on. If you want to like have a Big Bang Theory show, that's what it should have been. Like, that's what you do as a nerd. You sit in your room and like have multiple things going at a time, and you ignore everyone. Like. That's really what's happening. It's like me sitting on my couch
that is
playing
super
a game
true.
While watching somebody else play a game.
I'm
like watching Giant Bomb, but also playing games. That's that's what happens. But yeah, I don't know. So
anyway,
Joy-Con
what
stuff,
else you been playing?
Yeah, that's mainly it. I just kind of dabbled in that. Like I said, I know we've talked about the weird stuff with emulation. For me, it's more like I get people's gray area on it. But my thing is, I own some of these games, but I've paid for them in the past. Yeah. Like I bought Mario Kart 8 twice. So guess what? And the thing is, I'm also not sitting here playing Mario Kart 8 for the first time, and I'm not playing through all of it. It's one of those things where I'm like, I'm gonna throw this on, see how it looks, cool. I'm gonna delete it. Breath of the Wild, I already bought Breath of the Wild. I already played the shit at Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, you did everything, man.
So, it's like, yeah, I'm going to see how it looks on PC, but I'm also not going to play through the whole thing.
Right.
So it's like, I feel like it's one of those things,
yeah.
If that's what I'm saying. It's different if you're like torrenting video games that you have never bought and they're new. That's where, like, I think the distinction comes in, where you're like, hey, I'm not going to buy Dragon Ball FighterZ, I'm going to pirate Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Right.
Whereas it's like, hey, if I had a GameCube game and I want to emulate that GameCube game that is very difficult to play, they're like, yeah, you can get a GameCube, put on there. I'm like,
access to it anymore,
yeah, I could do that, but that seems fucking terrible. Right. Also, why would I do that when I can just up-res that shit and make it look better? Because the thing is, otherwise, I'm not playing that game. That's the difference. Like, I'm not busting out a GameCube and playing Gale of Darkness. Right. I will download a ROM for it and play it for 10 minutes and go, that's pretty cool. Because that's the thing. None of these games, I'm not playing these games to completion. It's more of this thing like, yeah, let me dabble in this and, like, look and see what's happening. The only thing that I legit am playing that I might actually beat again is Dragon Quest VIII.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things, I have 3 copies of that fucking game.
Yeah, so you're
like,
well justified, yeah.
I own that game, and so, like, I have no, and that's the only PS2 like ROM I have on my computer is Dragon Quest VIII. I'm like, because that's all I care about. I don't care about anything else. Hey, they want to remake that game, I'll buy that game. That's the thing. But they're not doing it. They snub all these us Dragon Quest people. So fuck them. They want to make that game, then I'll buy it. But other than that, I'm not playing much. It's just kind of cool to mess around with that stuff and see kind of what's out there. And I mean, it's the same with like retro shit. It's like most people don't own all that shit.
I mean, yeah.
It's like the only person that you like believe, you're like, all right, when you see Jeff Gerstmann, who's like, yeah, I'm robbing all these shit. You're like, yeah, that man has a fucking garage full of shit.
I will say, again, I always bring up my boys, the Game Grumps. They do play everything, physical copy, because they're so open. The thing I like about listening to them is they like give behind the scenes shit. They don't, they put on a show, but they just talk about it like all the time. So when they played the Zelda CDI games, and he was raging, he was yelling. He's like, I spent $400 on this. I had to buy, I had to buy the game.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
I had to buy the controller. I had to buy the console. And sometimes they get, they have a lot of fans. So sometimes they get gifted certain games. And I've seen a little bit of the Grump space, and it is just walls and walls of retro games, which is awesome. But they have the means to do that. And, I mean, if that is your livelihood and that is what you... that's what he puts forth, is that like, hey, we don't pirate anything. So if you want us to play something, send it to us maybe. And, people will do that. So obviously that's not realistic for the common man. So
yeah, I mean,
I'm with you.
It's the same thing that, even if you look at like Red Letter Media, like all the weird shit that they watch, they buy. Yeah. Or they get sent, It's like, yeah, they could probably go online and like find all this weird shit. They probably could, But the thing is it even online? Video games are a little more prevalent than like fucking weird B movies from the 70s. But it's like, yeah, if I had the means to be like, okay, I have all this space, this is my job.
Yeah, I would love to have like an actual physical collection to show off, because it's. Yeah, like if you could do it, great. Because not only is that, oh, cool, I can play it, I can have a cool space for it, I can, decorate with it, etc. But man, that's just not.
Yeah, but also if you're gonna be a dick about me like pirating Centipede, get the fuck over it. Sorry,
right.
Like, get the fuck over it. There's certain, like I said, unless it is a game that like came out last week, like that's where the line is,
Agreed.
And even the thing is, like, I've even done it where it's like, all right, I even if you pirate like new shit, it's one of those things. It's like, for me, it's almost like, all right, this is just a demo. Because the thing is, anything I've ever pirated, I've never beat. Like, I've never like pirated something and then been like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play this whole thing, because I always feel shitty about it. It's one of those things that never goes away. So it's like, and I did that a few times, but it's like every time I do it, I'm just like, man, I just like, or I'll be like, hey, this game's fucking awesome. This game's cool. I'm gonna go play it, because
let me go support the actual official release.
Most of the time, if you want updates, if you want any of that stuff for free shit they release or any of that stuff, you're not gonna get any of that stuff unless you're like really into it and you're doing cracks and updates for that way. And it seems very complicated, other than me going, buy this game for $30. Like, that for me is way easier. Plus being like, hey, yeah, I want this game. So, but yeah, people that are just like on board, like, hey, I'm never gonna buy a video game. Those are shit human beings, like, and you clearly don't love video games if you're sitting here pirating everything that you ever play. But enough about that. But yeah, it's.
Oh yeah.
Other than that, but yeah, you've been playing anything before we move on?
I mean, I have just been playing more Mario Maker, but the nice thing about Mario Maker is that it's so many games rolled into one. So I didn't have any time to make any stages. I have some ideas. I would really love to sit down and try to implement them. I think they're going to take longer than really anything else I've ever done. So I really ought to just start and just chip away at it. But man, I just like playing. I like making my stages in a long, like 1 or 2 goes. And I know that I'm not going to have the chance to do that. So I just need to get over it and just, use what little time I have. Yeah, it's just very, very busy work-wise this summer. So hopefully only a month or 2 of that, and then I can actually get back to my video game life. But what I did get to play this week, I decided to change up my search preferences for the course search. I looked at puzzle-themed stages this time. There's a lot of cool stuff. People do a lot of cool stuff. I'd seen that one what's it called? It's a oh man, I can't remember what they're called. They're like one screen puzzles, basically. Yeah, one screen puzzles. They were a big thing in the first Mario Maker. I never played them, but I played 3 or 4 of them this week, and it is exactly what it says. You're where you start and where the finish line is on the same exact page on the screen. You don't cycle through anything else. Sometimes they start you off in another area. They give you a couple lives, and then you go to the one screen. But you have to solve puzzles. So you got to find a Yoshi to do this, to break a block, to activate a P, to get a POW, to, et cetera, et cetera. They're pretty cool. They're pretty creative. So I've liked that. And then I've just played some more puzzle-themed stages, getting that side of things. For a while, I was playing a lot of the speedrun style stages and dabbling into some Kaizo stuff. I'm not a big Kaizo player. They get a little too nuts for me. But I did play... Adam, one of our listeners, had a Kaizo stage, and I finally finished it. At least last time I checked, I'm the only person who's finished that stage. So that's an honor. I had like a finish time of 13 minutes, which, and not too bad considering, the difficulty of it at certain points. But it was an easier Kaizo stage, in the big picture, and he said that he knows that. He uploaded another stage yesterday, and I tried it out a bit, got mad, and quit. So, man, that's the thing about that game is sometimes, like, when you're playing every other game and you're losing, let's say I'm just playing regular Mario, if I were playing Mario The Lost Levels, because it's ridiculously hard. Like, I could just yell and just be like, those fuckers, like, they did this. Like, oh my gosh, why would they do this? Why would they? And there's that they.
Yeah.
You don't know who they are. Man, with Mario Maker, I'm like, Adam, you asshole, why?
Yeah. Or even like,
I hope you're
just looking at their Maker ID, you're just like, this guy.
Especially when it's someone you know. That's the
oh yeah.
Is like, well, even you, like you had a stage. I'm like, Chris, why would you put that? Why would you do that? Come on, Chris. And I'm like, I don't like this. I don't feel comfortable getting mad at someone I know.
Yeah, it's like
over.
Like, this
over
is why
Mario.
you're like, we know you're not going to be a good game designer because of this.
Man, I tell you, there's some people on there who either have to be game designers already, or they should be.
Yeah.
Because they're smart, and I feel like I feel bad because some of the stuff I want to try and I want to implement is in a lot of ways just tweaking stuff they've done or stuff I've seen, and I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying not to just rip anybody off, but I just feel like there's only so much you can do, and I don't know, putting your own twist on something is something that's been done for years. Like that's everything, isn't it? Like
yeah.
I mean, Roman gods are just Greek gods with different names, so
yeah.
Why can't I just take your stage and make it again with a different, map? I don't know. No,
I've learned my place in the video game world. I just like to talk about them. I don't need to make them to be happy. I don't need to do any of that shit.
Yeah.
So like, nah, I'm just gonna talk about it. That's
Let's
where.
talk about your zoo level.
Oh, my zoo level. Yeah, I
Your
forgot
zoo
about that.
level was funny.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it.
I don't know. It was some weird. I don't know where it came from. About it was just a fucking weird idea, and
I wonder if do you watch girlfriend reviews at all?
No. I
Okay.
saw her like first couple, but like
Because they did a Mario Maker, and they were like, they talked about the difference between her and her boyfriend, and she says, and you guys should just watch the video, I suppose. We don't, whatever. I'm not sponsored by them, obviously, but no, check them out. They're pretty funny. But this one in particular, she says, the difference between our level designs. Like my boyfriend, he takes all this time and he practices and does these things and tries to make it real intricate. And she's like, and here's a level I made, and it was a zoo. It was the same kind of thing.
That's funny.
And then it's like, and then he got better and he learned more stuff and he did this, and then I made an aquarium. It's like, and I'm like, yep, okay, well, that's what Chris did.
That's me. Like,
That's
just
us. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not into like these super complicated things, Like, but yeah, I don't know. I think I just had like a box with an enemy in it, and it was one of those things that I did it, and then I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? And the thing is, I made that level like 6 times.
It was like a creepy zoo too. Like it got
Yeah,
scary at the end, and
when it
they
didn't-
started actually attacking.
Yeah, it didn't start as that, and then there was stuff that I wanted to do, like what I was originally gonna have, and I'd have to redo a lot of it. Is because you can like there's blocks there, so you could actually like kill the enemies. But initially, what I was going to do, and why I put those blocks that you
The
could
spike
break
ones,
there.
yeah. Or yeah.
I was gonna have it like there like be a pulse block where you hit them, and then everything was coming at you.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So like, but it was like I was like, I'm ready to be done with this. That's my thing with Mario Maker.
Yeah.
Like I have the idea, and I'm like, yeah, I could do all that, but that's gonna be a lot of time consuming, and people are just gonna walk through this level anyway, and they may not even do it.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like when I'm making levels, like there isn't a lot of return unless like some of those guys obviously get hundreds of plays and thousands of.
Yeah.
And I think my max, I've had like 55 different people play my stage, and like I think the most likes I have is like 8 on a stage. And I have 4 stages out there. A couple of them, maybe one is 8, one is 7, etc.
I haven't even looked. I need to.
And I'm
look.
never gonna be at that level. I don't think I'm ever gonna create anything. And if I did, I just worry that someone will be like, "Hey, this is from Mario Maker 1," and I'm like, "Well, I didn't know that."
Yeah, this dumbass made a zoo. Like, I was just like, so yeah, it was fun. That's what I said. I just want to make weird shit. So it was like that, and just being like, yeah, this is gonna just be weird, and this weird like human zoo that like. Also, it's like who's pitting Bowser in this, cage?
Right, like how they get him in there. Yeah,
I was just creating this narrative in my head of like, yeah, so who's actually doing this? But yeah, it was fun to make. So I'm trying to just like that's why I'm not like playing it constantly. I'm just like, all right, whenever I get an idea, I might sit down and I'm like gonna make it. But I feel like when I was doing it actively, like I was not creating really anything. So now I'm just like I'm just waiting. I'll play. I think I may have actually played 1 or 2 of the like story levels, if I'm remembering right. This week has all been a blur. I've been doing so much, but I may have done that. I don't remember, but I've been kind of doing that. And then if I get an idea, I did that. Well, I guess I made the zoo level last week. I guess that's after the podcast I made that. So yeah, I guess I did play.
Had to have been.
I guess I did play Mario Maker this week.
There you go.
Because I was playing a couple of the levels and then I had that idea. So that's kind of the way I've been doing is like jumping on, playing a few missions of the story, and then if I have an idea, doing it for 5 minutes, and then if it goes somewhere it does. If not, putting it down. Because I'm like, I don't want to get like frustrated with it, and I don't want to like. Yeah. Also, unless you make something, it's kind of like, all right, I'm just wasting time that I could be doing other stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
So unless I have like a good idea, because I'll usually like play a couple letters, go into the editor, and just like start making something. And if like something starts to form, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep working on this. Right. But if nothing comes in like 10 minutes, and I'm like, all right, well, clearly this is not the day. I'm gonna go do something else.
Yeah, I've got 2 levels in mind that are kind of based. I mean, they're both like the same type of thing. So I've seen a feature. It was done in Mario Maker 1, and I've played when I did puzzles. There was one I'd seen that they'd done this same kind of thing, but it's a feature where if you so you have the 2 screens, obviously, the area and the sub area, and you can basically make 2 hub areas with flags, with checkpoint flags, and every time you get a red coin and you hit a checkpoint flag, if you die, it keeps your red coins. Now, if you get the key and you get a checkpoint and then you die, you lose it. But this would essentially be, so you've got your one hub area, and you have 4 to 8 challenges. So you go through a pipe or you go through a door, and you do a bunch of stuff and get to the end, and you get a red coin. And then when you exit that area, it funnels you through to like an exit hub area with a checkpoint flag, and then you go through a tunnel there, a pipe there, back to the main hub area where you'd pick your next challenge. So I've got 2 of those in mind, just because one of them I want to be more traditional Kaizo type of stuff, spring grabs and jumping, stuff like that, spin challenge, basically. Like, I think I'm going to call it like Kaizo trials or something, mainly for me, because it's kind of just being able to have each of these in a safe-ish environment, like where if you lose and you restart, you can go back and like, okay, I'm gonna practice the turtle shell jumping. If you jump on a Koopa, usually a big Koopa, and then they'll hit a spinning spike wheel, and it'll fling them up, and you can jump off him. So stuff like that, or like Yoshi jumps. You can do a lot of cool stuff with Yoshi jumps. So if you have each one be themed, it's kind of a good way, if you're not good at some of those things, to just go in and practice that. It's kind of my idea behind it. And then I want to do another one of those. Again, same thing, but each one you go into is just like something fucking crazy.
That'd be cool.
So that would probably be like 4 coins, and it'll just be like you go in and there's like a chain chomp cage is one of the ideas. Basically, it's a bunch of chain chomps on a track. And you come through a door and they're surrounding you, and you give enough space in this so that when they attack you, if you're right in the middle, it won't hurt. But if you have other enemies kind of cycle through, or the ground, do a little bit of platforming.
Yeah.
Again, these are all just in my head, and I need to actually flesh them out and do them. But yeah, fun stuff. All
right. Well, I've got a couple of news things, a couple Comic-Con things. We'll end it with the Marvel stuff. But I'm just going to rattle some of this stuff off. If you've seen it, we can talk about it. Otherwise, I'll just kind of share my thoughts.
Sure.
I know there's a lot of stuff that happened at Comic-Con, but this is just the stuff that I was kind of into, or just, it's weird. So the first thing is there's a couple trailers that dropped. The Top Gun 2 trailer dropped, which was weird. It's called Maverick. I'm just like, yep, that looks a Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah, I heard about it. I didn't see the trailer for it, mainly because I don't really care to.
It's a weird thing. You never seen Top Gun?
I've never seen Top Gun.
Yeah. It's a fine. Top Gun's great, but it's
is
just
there like a plot? Like, is there the thing about it? All I know is that they fly, they do tricks in the air, and they play sand volleyball. Like, is there an actual plot?
Goose dies? Yeah.
Is there an antagonist? Okay, are they fighting in a war?
Dude, I couldn't tell you what happens.
I don't know what happens.
Even though I've seen Top Gun multiple times.
How does Goose die then?
I don't remember. I'm gonna be honest with you. I know this is bad because we're talking about Top Gun, but I can't fucking remember what happens in Top Gun. And
yeah,
I've seen
fair.
Top Gun multiple times. It's just like I've seen Ghostbusters multiple times, but I can't tell you like the beats of fucking Ghostbusters.
Right.
Like I know what happens in parts of that movie, but it's like, I got a lot of movies crammed up in here, so unless they're like really stand out to me, like it looked like a Top Gun movie, I guess, with Tom Cruise, But so that happened. What else? We got the It Chapter 2 trailer. I'm excited for that.
Did we get more of a trailer? Because I didn't see it. Because I've seen the one where she goes into her old house. And
this is actually the final trailer. They're not doing any more.
So they're just doing 2 trailers?
Yeah, which is good.
Good.
That was like a teaser,
like
so really there's only one actual trailer,
Yeah, I'm definitely going to look that up because somebody posted it, or I thought they did, and I was like, no, this is just the same thing. And then
it's different. And it has a lot of footage from that first little one, like kind of at the end when they were like flashing through stuff. So like, I'm excited. I'm trying not to get too excited about that movie. If you're new listening, I love Stephen King, so that's why I'm excited, but and we're getting a lot of Stephen King stuff this year, so I am excited for that movie. It looks like Bill Skarsgård's like being crazy in that.
That's
like,
great.
It seems like I'm glad that if you know anything about like the book and everything, that in the It movie, like this most recent one, Ben was kind of like the kid that was like in the library, and really that was all Mike's stuff to do.
Yeah.
But in this trailer, they actually show Mike staying back and becoming the librarian and stuff like that. So I'm excited because that's actually what happens. So I was worried that they were going to give that stuff to Ben, but I think they were kind of like, yeah, this guy that we have playing Ben, probably not a great actor. Even though the guy playing Mike is the Old Spice guy, he still has like more charm. Yeah, it looks good. I'm excited. So yeah, you should definitely watch that. What else? So we got those two. We got a couple little news bit things too that were kind of came out at the same time. So the Blizzard co-founder Frank Pierce, he's leaving Blizzard, and then Tim Willits is leaving id. So two like very prolific guys from those companies are leaving those companies pretty much after Frank Pierce co-founded Blizzard, and Tim Willits also co-founded Blizzard. So I mean also co-founded id. So it's it's crazy that they're leaving, but I don't blame him for leaving Blizzard. Blizzard's kind of in a weird
Blizzard's
spot,
a mess right now. Yeah.
They need to buy their fucking way out, man. God. It seems like Bungie's doing great to have left Activision. They seem like they're doing a lot of cool shit. So I don't know that I'm ever going to be back into Destiny again, but it seems like it's cool as a company that they're like being able to do smart stuff and stuff that they want to do.
They'd really have to, Destiny in particular, they'd really have to prove that they are on a completely different page. I mean,
I'm going to play Shadowkeep just because I can actually bring my character onto the PC. So
and that's cool.
That's exciting for me.
That is cool.
I mean, I always play the expansion. I've also played all the content up until this point, so I'm going to play at least the story missions in Shadowkeep. Because I still like the story of Destiny. So I'm still going to play that stuff, and then I might not play anything else. Even every time they release the expansion, I'll play the story stuff. I will always be in for that. I just may not be in it for anything else. I feel like I'm always missing
some of the story when I can't do the raid, so I just feel like, well, I can play the story.
Well, that's why I just watch a bunch of lore videos. There's just that one guy that I just watch the lore videos for, and I'm like, cool, whenever this stuff comes out, I'm like, all right, what am I missing? Okay, great, I'm caught up.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But other than that, that's the only like news things. But then the Witcher trailer came out.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, I mean, I'm more hopeful for that.
And I am too. So maybe we've stated before, maybe we haven't. Well, we've talked Witcher, but
we've read the books,
like in the last year, have read every book.
Yeah.
And what they're doing with it looks good. I mean, it looks like they're kind of diving more into some of Yennefer's backstory about how she was a hunchback and whatnot.
Yeah. I don't know if you noticed too, but they're not even pulling from the books. So they're pulling from the story, like the short stories before the books.
Yeah. So the the Last Wish and the
stuff
Sword
like that.
of Destiny.
So it's really not like Witcher 3 shit. That's the thing. That's what people need. He's not he's not even Witcher 1 yet. Like he's not even there yet. So
it's not even. So the books all take place before Witcher 1, and the books all without getting too much spoiler, the first two books chronologically, not written. But chronologically in the lore, the first two books are collections of short stories that kind of have an overarching theme and usually end, have a big conclusion in the end. So like the first one is all short stories in between, Geralt getting fixed up from like his latest thing and kind of hinting at like, oh, you're still thinking about her, aren't you? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then the final short story ends with giving, how Yennefer and Geralt meet and how they get connected. And it also, I mean, I guess that first collection of short story also has the whole thing about how he gets tied with Ciri, how the child of Destiny. It's really good stuff. You guys should, if you like the Witcher games, but you've never read the books, I highly recommend them. And if you haven't done either, I recommend both as well. So.
Yeah, and it seems like that's what they're pulling off. Obviously, Ciri's in this. Obviously Yennefer's in this. So it seems, that's why. Well, people have been like, oh, why doesn't he have two swords? Well, that's why, because he doesn't.
Well, he still has two swords in those short stories.
And I'm assuming that they're holding it back because they want to give him that sword and make it like a moment. Like he's got,
Well, that's weird, but it's just standard. I didn't notice that actually. So now that you say it, it's weird because that's just standard. When you graduate Witcher school, you get your two swords.
So I don't know what they're changing differently. I don't know if they're being like, all right, well, he has one sword and then he's gonna come up across something that he has to have.
If they pull from, so the other thing is, so the second collection of short stories, gets more into Ciri as a young girl and how they meet up again and how he realizes that this is the child of destiny, blah, blah, blah. And then all the books after that are about how he's trying to protect Ciri and then find Ciri when she needs saving and etc. But there's one book, which I forget where it takes place in the timeline, but it's called, what's that? It's a Season of Storms. And it is just one full story, but it doesn't have anything to do with Ciri. Doesn't really have much to do with Yennefer. She's in the book, but that one he just loses both of his swords, and he just like gets this other sword for a while. And I think that even happens I think that happens a couple times. So we could just be seeing that. We could be seeing one of the times when he
doesn't have it, or he has to get it back. But it was cool at the end. Like obviously people that know nothing about The Witcher, they're watching that shit going like, what the fuck? Why does he look crazy? But
that was awesome.
Yeah,
that was
so that's cool
moment.
that hopefully he's using signs and like taking potions and preparing shit to fight the creatures. But apparently there's no villain. They say they come out, there's no overarching villains. It's just going to be him fighting creatures, and like
so they're
every
not
episode.
Doing what was his name? What was the guy from the books? I don't remember. Maybe it's a spoiler anyway if I say his name because you don't know he's bad right off the beginning. So whoopsies. Yeah. But
so yeah, and that's
good.
Obviously Roach is in it. You got a couple other people.
Well, every horse of his is named
Roach. Yeah. But yeah, I think the armor looks cool. The only thing I'm nitpicky about is that fucking medallion because it looks stupid.
Oh,
it's just like it's like a circle. Like I watched it like 5 times because I'm fucking obsessed with the damn Witcher. So I was just like, I need to nitpick the hell out of this trailer. So that's what I did. But I think Yennefer looks great when they show her in the end. Ciri looks fine.
I just looked up the medallion right now.
Yeah.
It is. It's like not. It's a wolf profile. So
but it's not the actual like solid wolf chain that he actually wears. So
Yeah. Well, in the books, I suppose they call it a medallion, and that's truer to being a medallion. But.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a very like that's obviously CD Projekt Red's take on it, and this is theirs. So it's like they're both right. So it's fine. It's just like you get used to a character wearing something for so long, and then you don't see them with that specific thing. So it's weird. But yeah, I'm excited. I like Henry Cavill.
They definitely are doing some of the stuff here. I'm just looking at screenshots now. They're definitely doing some of the stuff from the second short stories.
It seems like they're pulling like from. They're just not going into like the main books. Like they're just pulling from like those two sets of short stories, which is good. Yeah,
Well, yeah, they've got the scene here with Ciri with all the wood elves. I forget what they're called. They're not called wood elves, but they're like a special race of wood elf people, and that's the whole thing with how they meet up in the second collection of short stories. So cool. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm they look cool. So I'm excited. And Henry Cavill came out and said that he's played The Witcher 3 a bunch of times. Like
that's fun.
Like prep for that. So I mean, it's cool. Like he looks. I think the character looks good. So we'll. I'm excited. I'm excited.
I'd like to see him have some facial scars, but that's just like really, really nitpicky, man. Just because in the books he just describes himself as hideous.
Oh yeah, and in the games, man, he's fucked up.
Yeah, and that's literally in the books. Like he gets laid all the time in the books. I mean, same as the games, but in the books he straight up. It's because he has like. I maybe I'm reading. I think I'm reading into it correctly. It's because he has like crazy low self-esteem, and so when he gets into fights with Yennefer or other ladies, it's just like, well, you just wanted to have sex with a freak, didn't you? Like you just wanted to have sex. You wanted to try it out with a monster once.
Yeah.
You wanted to try it out with. It's not because, but all the ladies are like, oh, he's ridiculously handsome. Oh, he's gorgeous. He's a, I don't know. I don't know if he's supposed to be hideous or not.
It's those eyes. That's what it is.
Well, he always is like,
fucking cat
eyes. There's a part
where
he sees a reflection of himself, like smiling, and he's like, oh, do I always grin so hideously? So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't think he thinks highly of himself, but
I mean, that's totally it. He is.
I mean, also in the world they live in, he's probably a handsome dude. He's also a badass. So
well, that he knows, and I love that about.
That's why
him whenever...
Yennefer's into him. She's like, yeah, I know he's a fucking badass.
Right.
Like, I mean, Yennefer's also super fucking powerful. So,
Yep.
I mean, also Trissa's not in this. So from what we've seen,
interesting. She plays a big part in the those books, but
yeah. So we'll see.
It may not so much. No, she's not in. No, she doesn't play a part until the first book of the actual series. Yeah.
So that's why I assumed, and that's kind of what my first inkling before I read that, I was like, oh, Trissa's not in this, so this is definitely from the short stories. And then when I read that, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense because she's not in these. It's all about Ciri, Yennefer, and those. So yeah, I'm excited for that. I think that looks cool. What else do I have on here? I'm gonna read my notes real fast. I saw that Star Trek Picard trailer. And then I was like, great, no one's ever really gone. It's just the same
no one's
shit.
Ever really gone.
You know, legit, fucking the Borg are back in this. Fucking Data's back. Like, Data dies at the fucking end of TNG to save Picard. And, like, at the end, he is literally playing cards with fucking Data. So he brought him back somehow.
So do they have all the original? I didn't see anything about this.
No,
all the original...
There's a few. Data is Brent Spiner, yeah. Whenever he gets to him, so it's a few people, and then there's like the chick. I don't forget what she's from TNG, but I don't remember. She's like the Borg lady that's in it. It's not the Queen, but she's one of the Borg ladies. I can't remember her name. But she's in it. But yeah, so there's a couple people from that, but it's basically like, hey, you remember that? Hey, you remember that? Hey, remember that? Yeah,
great. Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be good or not. I mean, it's Alex Kurtzman and fucking dumbass duo, so who the fuck knows? Like, Star Trek Discovery is garbage, is hot garbage. So, I have no faith in this show, but I'm more intrigued about this show than Discovery. So,
I guess it deserves a chance, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, he's in it, so it's Patrick Stewart's great. So
Patrick Stewart.
At least we know one actor will be good.
Right.
Like, and if Brett Spider's in it, that's two. So we'll get two great. We used to, at least the acting from Patrick Stewart will be good, and it may just be garbage all around. Other than that, I also watched that fucking weird ass Cats trailer.
Yeah.
Fucking it just was bananas, and I was just like, what the fuck is happening? Like,
I mean, granted, that is basically not that I've ever seen the stage show.
Yeah, I have, and I don't know what the fuck was going on when I saw it when I was a teenager.
I don't know what the plot is at all.
And I watched this, and I was like, still have no fucking idea, but this is creepy, and I don't want to watch this. I don't want to be any part of this.
So visually, I get that people are like creeped out by it visually. But that is kind of what they look like on stage in those suits.
I know, but at least then you can be like, yeah, this is a play.
Yeah.
So you're right. Fine. You're right. It can be plays can be super weird, but it's one thing where you just like some things should just not be fucking movies.
Well,
at all. Some things, and that's one of them.
So I will bring up maybe I shouldn't because I haven't seen it, but like kind of comparing that to the new Lion King, and just based on things I heard, I have not seen it yet. So if you hate what I'm about to say, then I'm sorry, I guess. I have seen some side-by-sides of scenes, and what I have heard is that the issue with this movie, although the voice cast is amazing, and done very well, is it's basically shot for shot of the original. Yeah. And the problem with that being is when you think about, I mean, I've seen the original a million times. Like, we watched it constantly as children.
Yeah, that movie's perfect.
It is perfect. And when you think about, like, I just can't wait to be king. How crazy, how flashy the animation is, and how he's jumping from animal to animal. And then there's this part where, like, there's this tower of all the animals, and it's all these crazy, unrealistic things that is just fun. It's these bright 90s Technicolors. It's just goofy. It's, and in this, obviously they can't do any of that because it's a photorealistic. So all he's doing is just kind of prancing underneath zebras and giraffes, and and they're kind of choreographed. But and what I've really seen is like from Hakuna Matata. Hakuna Matata ends with, obviously he kind of grows up and he's on the log. Yeah. And then he does this swing with a vine in his mouth, and he lands in the water, and there's this big tidal wave, and they all surf it in, and he floofs his hair up, and it's it's just all these like fun animations, very, very fun. And I've seen the end of Hakuna Matata when he's adult and he's singing, and literally it's just the three of them walking in a straight line. Camera is so it's kind of to the right and back, right, and they're walking into it. and he's just kind of like prancing and maybe like jumping left to right and like, every so often facing them, but doing actual lion movements, and that's boring.
So
and
where I'm at with this is that and Beauty and the Beast are like my two favorite animated movies. So like that's why I don't like the Beauty and the Beast one. It's fine,
no,
but
I saw it. I
it's,
didn't. Yeah.
And then Aladdin. At least Aladdin did a lot of stuff different.
Aladdin did a lot of stuff different,
so
and
that's fine.
It was still able to do a
but
lot
it's its
of
own
the
thing,
flashy
though. That's
stuff
the thing.
and a lot of the animation. Yeah. Well, and that's because you also lose, like in the original Lion King, they are animated with very human-like features. They have pronounced eyebrows. They have jaws that move in ways that real animals don't move. They had, cartoon mouths that actually can form words and whatnot, and they very expressive eyes and facial features.
That's the problem with Zazu.
What's that?
That's the problem with Zazu. He has a beak.
Yeah, well, any of them, like.
But I mean, he's like the worst. Like Zazu literally has a beak. He can't pronounce these crazy. And Zazu's like the most articulate person in that movie, and you're just like, he wouldn't say all those words.
Well, yeah, in the original, because he squeezes his beak up like lips and whatnot. So I mean, any of these characters, like what I've seen. It's like if you close your eyes and listen to it, it's like, okay, this is a pretty cool, like I've seen the stage version of Lion King. And
it's great.
It didn't make me feel like I was missing out on anything.
Well, no, it's just like a different interpretation.
It's a different interpretation.
Your brain's like, yeah, okay, these things can't happen.
And if they had gone for that approach and done that instead of just doing a shot-for-shot remake without all the fun, I'd be
that's
behind
the thing.
it.
I've heard it's just kind of soulless. That it looks great and it's cool, and from a technical perspective, it's great, but it's kind of soulless.
And how can you have any soul when you can't even give these animals any humanoid emotions other than through voice? Like it's like the whole thing with animation is that it's not, voice is very important. I've talked about voice actors before and my appreciation for them, and but the animators are the ones who bring that voice to life. And if you just slap, if you just do what they did, or you just take, video of a documentary, like an actual animals and stick voices over them, it's not going to be the same. Their eyes are empty. They're soulless.
Well, yeah, the way that
animals.
The way that I've always felt about animation is that like the whole purpose of it was like, hey, these are things that we cannot do with actors, with actual actors.
Right.
So we're going to do this in animation. That's why the Lion King exists and the Little Mermaid and, Mulan obviously is like the best candidate for that stuff because, it's just.
And now the Mulan, I could get into that with that. Their whole remake is like they're taking out the music and the cartoon.
characters. I think that's a problem. That's like the cartoon characters I don't care about. The music in that is very integral, and also would make sense. Like like it's the most realistic like cartoon of them. Like
I guess at least they're trying to do something different. Like if we're bitching about Lion King being too similar, but I don't want any substance.
I think that movie's going to be very different though, because they're taking out like the villain is very different. Mushu's not in it. It's going to be a little more serious. So it's like But even if you cut down, but like, her not singing that song, I don't forget whatever reflection song, I don't remember the name of it is.
The Mirror, yeah.
Yeah. But if she's not.
This is girl I see.
But that's a very integral part of that movie. And it's a big turning point. So I think you could take out some of the songs and be okay, but some of them,
I think it's gonna feel like Snow White and the Huntsman, or it's gonna feel like any of those, like those remakes that weren't actually done by Disney.
Yeah, they're starting at this territory where like I don't think they know what they're doing, and they're just they got lucky with Jungle Book. But the thing is, Jungle Book is like nobody gives a shit about the Jungle Book.
Exactly.
So like
Jungle Book, I liked it. I liked the remake because I didn't care about the original.
Well, the thing is, it's better than that. Like I can watch the Jungle Book and be like, this is better. Also, there was Mowgli. There was a human character in that you could attach onto, and you're like, okay, there's this kid. Okay, yeah, he's talking to a bunch of animals, but it doesn't matter. Because they're bears, like bears can articulate their mouths, like it's a little more believable.
Yeah, they were able to do a little bit more with and the King Louie, it's a monkey. They were able to do a little, and honestly, all the characters it's the bear and the monkey.
There's also very few characters in that. There's not a lot of characters.
The problem with cats is that you can't get any emotion out of cats, and so you have Shere Khan, the villain, and you're like, okay, he's fine because he doesn't need a lot of emotions. He's just gonna try and kill. Yeah. And then you had the who's the other sidekick, the Black Panther one.
God, I don't remember.
I forget his name, but he's very, very stoic anyway, and very flat, and that's his comedy thing because he bounced off Bill Murray as Baloo, is that it was just he was
God, what is his name?
he was the straight man. Yeah,
It's
and it
bothering
worked. I don't know.
I'm looking it up.
Shere Khan and I don't remember. I don't know. While you're looking that up, I guess just final thoughts on it's just hard doing any of these remakes. First off, because you had something that was so great and so successful in the first place that
I'm looking at his
should
name
stand
and I don't know
alone.
why I can't pronounce it.
How do you spell it?
It's Bagherra.
Oh, Bagheera.
Bagheera, that's
yeah.
his name. Okay, I'm
That's
like
it.
sitting here thinking, my brain is like, no, that doesn't seem right. Yeah, it's
but then if
Bagheera.
you're just gonna if you're gonna do a shot-for-shot remake and just use a photorealistic style of animation, like I just don't get it. I don't know.
That's why it was weird as it was to like have Guy Ritchie do Aladdin. It's like you're like, well, he's gonna do something different.
Yep, and different
You know,
was fun. Aladdin was fun. I
at
did
least
not expect to like it, but I liked it.
The Little Mermaid's gonna be weird.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, The Lion King was just one that it's like they just never needed. It was unnecessary. Like I didn't think there was
totally.
anything they could ever add to that movie. Like The Little Mermaid, you could do
And I don't
different
think
stuff.
they
You
did.
know,
They just
like
they
Mulan,
got, like,
you could do stuff. Aladdin,
Yeah.
you could do stuff. Like Jungle Book, you could do. So all the other ones, Beauty and the Beast, they added stuff. I mean, I still didn't like it, but you could see
Right.
like at least all of those things. Like I could see where they add it. You could add stuff to it, but like they took away from The Lion King.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, obviously I haven't seen it either, but from what I've heard, it's like, Be Prepared is my favorite song, and like to know that song is like in half.
Yeah, well, think about everything that happens in the animation.
Yeah, and
when
that's
he starts singing, a volcano starts erupting.
Yeah, and it's
like
great. That song is
and a
fucking
mountain
great.
is formed, and,
And
he
they
ends
all
up on
like
the top
marching
of it.
like Nazi hyenas.
Yeah,
Like
and they're
all
doing,
that stuff
they're
is
doing
great.
goose steps, and there's like crazy green like smoke.
Yeah, it's
and,
great.
Yeah.
And he's like walking through it, man. Oh man, that part gives me chills and that,
Like,
you know. And it's like
you don't
can't
get any of that by putting it in a realistic setting.
Yeah, also Scar is like so emotive. You know,
yes,
that
he
like
is.
and I've heard the one line that like gets people that's weird, and I'm probably gonna cringe when it happens. You know, when he's like, you know, Zazu, I've lost my lunch now. When he's going, like, apparently he just says that, you know, but it's like in the animated thing, he's very playful with that
He's
line.
so playful. He
Yeah,
just,
it's so, but
flips
it's like,
his hair, and
but he's
you
not
know,
like that in this movie. He's very serious, so it's like you can't. They should have just cut lines out.
See,
the thing is,
he was-
because they
yeah.
wrote him, they're like they wrote those lines for those people.
right.
So it's like we
I think
wrote.
Jeremy Irons. They're just like,
Yeah,
he's cultured. He is.
Yeah,
He's pretentious, and he knows he's the best thing that's ever happened to this world, and he knows it.
Yeah.
Everything that comes out of his mouth is just pure liquid gold, and he revels in it. Like,
well, I've heard
it's-
that's why Timon and Pumbaa are fine, because you have comedians and they probably
Yeah.
let them ad lib a little more.
But that's the thing is,
But you can't ad lib.
I've listened to
Mufasa.
Hakuna Matata. Like,
Yeah.
they definitely ad libbed, and it's a weird thing because it can only exist with the original. Like the line I've heard in Hakuna Matata is when he sings. He does the farted bit.
Yeah.
Which was actually a funny. Well, I don't have to get into it, but there's a funny story about how that line was written originally. I can't remember the voice actor's name because who's the guy who does Winnie the Pooh? He does a million dudes. He does Pete. He
Jim
does,
Cummings.
Jim Cummings, thank you. Yeah, Jim Cummings essentially said that, you know, he snuck that line in there because they gave those types of songs to them to learn and rehearse and sing,
Yeah.
and then teach to Nathan Lane, and I forget who played Pumbaa originally. But Jim Cummings like wrote that line that every time that and then Pumbaa, not in front of the kids.
Yeah.
And so that's, you know, like people know about that. So in this version of it, he goes, Seth Rogen's like, every time that are you going to stop me? Farted. You didn't stop me. And he's like, no, you're disgusting. I hate you. You know, like Billy Eichner is just being Billy Eichner.
Yeah.
And so it's fine, but it can only exist with the original. Like it doesn't stand alone as something on its own. Like it's that part is only funny because you know, at one point in time they didn't want to say farted, and now he just did. Whoa.
Well, and it's also that's very Nathan Lane also. Like so,
Yes.
and he's
Pumbaa, not in front of the kids. Yeah.
he's great. But even that song, it's just that it's the one movie that the animation, like changing that. I don't think they realized that like by taking it away out of that, that it would ruin it. And so I'm actually going to see it Saturday.
See, I'm
I'm going to my mom wants me to go because I'm going home to visit. I've got some stuff to do, but but we're going to see it in they have a 40X theater there.
Ooh.
So that's the only reason I'm kind of excited, because I'm like, all right, I bet that movie looks really
It'll look
cool.
great, yeah.
So I'm like, I know it's gonna be soulless and whatnot, but whatever.
See, if I've never Disney movie, I just want to see Toy Story because I haven't seen it yet. So
God, Toy Story.
I'd rather see something new.
We haven't talked about Toy Story. Toy Story's great.
Did you see the new Toy Story?
Yeah, I love Toy Story.
Well, see, I haven't seen it yet.
Forky is great.
See, three was that's another one that I'm like, oh, does this need to exist?
Yeah, but it's one of those things that it doesn't. It's one of those things that it purely doesn't. And I think as a movie, whatever, it's fine. But like, Forky is the greatest. He's so fucking funny, man. It's like just thinking about it. Like, actually seen it twice.
At least it's
but
an
it's
original story, so I'd like to see it.
It's like him and Woody are just doing dumb shit because he keeps losing him. Like, 'cause basically she makes him in school and they go on a road trip.
And he keeps wanting to like throw himself away,
and he keeps calling himself trash. And he's like, you're a toy, and he's like, trash. And he like throws himself away. It's
that's funny.
He's great. And then he's like, they're like in this antique show and they're looking for Bo Peep, and he's like, Bo, 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 Bo. And it's just really, you could tell it's like all ad lib shit, like from this sport. And it's like, it's dumb, and it's probably not a great Toy Story movie, but I really like Woody, and like, where they end up, I'm pretty okay with, and like Forky's great, and so it's just it's the funniest movie, like it's by far the funniest Toy Story.
Well, that's good. 3 was super serious. So
yeah, but it's just really funny, and it has a bunch of like dumb stuff in it, and you should see it. It's good. All
right, well, that was a tangent. You want?
Yeah. Other than that, I'll quickly just run down. I'm basically going to run down these Phase 4 movies. And
Phase
any of the
4
stuff
Marvel.
you think, anything you're excited for, we can elaborate a little for a little bit.
Let me pull up my list too.
So, the first thing, Black Widow's coming out. I don't care.
I think I just wish they'd done it sooner.
It's like somebody else said, it feels very much like of the last phase, and they just kind of are throwing it in this one, whereas this is like a lot of new stuff.
It feels thrown in, and we've seen the conclusion of her story. So
which, I mean, that's why it's first, so at least they're getting it out of the way. So really, it could be part of this, just kind of tail into Phase 3, whatever. The thing is,
and I can go into this in a little future point, maybe even at the end, but I'll just say now, whatever. I look at this list and I see nothing about Spider-Man, and obviously like where things have wrapped up, I don't care about anyone else. Everyone else has had resolutions except Spider-Man. Spider-Man is on a cliff, he's had this huge cliffhanger, and I need to know what happens next, and we're not going to get to see for the next 2 years.
There's only one thing. So I'll read through these, but there's only one movie I'm actually excited for. But so it's the Eternals. I don't know anything about the Eternals.
Me neither. I know Angelina Jolie was going to be in it. But
great.
I don't know who or what.
Then you got Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It could be all right. Then we got
WandaVision before that.
They're in weird order.
I'm looking at it wrong. Yeah. I'm looking at it wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. They did it weird. Yeah, because
they did it up.
Black Widow. It's Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it's Eternals.
Yep.
And it is, we got Shang-Chi, which, I mean, that could be fine. I don't know.
So
WandaVision.
They're bringing back the 10 rings, but
that's what they said. And they said that they're in. They said that if you watch older movies, there's hints for that. I think they're grasping.
But there was hints at the Mandarin, and they just made him.
But he's in this.
Iron Man 3, they made him be a phony.
So this is the actual Mandarin's in this movie, though.
Okay.
So,
hey, I'm good with that.
Then
that was another thing I will say, because we kind of had this point when we talked about Spider-Man. Maybe that was it was on both casts, but it's funny that in particular because back when Iron Man 3 came out, they didn't feel like they could get away with doing mystical, Mandarin, et cetera, et cetera. They feel like they had to be so realistic, and now where they're at, they're like, okay, we can do whatever because
they can actually do Mandarin.
We can do this stuff. Like these stories actually work. We have the right audience for them now, so it's cool.
Yeah, and then we got WandaVision, which apparently Kevin Feige said that's like the weirdest thing they've ever done. So we'll see.
WandaVision, I guess I will watch because
when it leads directly into Doctor Strange, and she's in it.
Yeah, so you have to be up on it.
When in comic books, she goes crazy. So what I'm assuming happens is like I'm assuming that she will probably like go mad and maybe rip open the multiverse
and bring Vision,
and that's how we'll get it. And then
now Doctor Strange is been called. I think the director said that this is going to be the first horror movie.
Well, yeah, and I mean Scott Derrick is he did God, what was that movie? It's gonna come to me. It's got Bagul in it. I don't fucking what is that movie?
Bagul. That's the Sinister.
Yeah,
right?
I think that's
Sinister.
him. That's him, right?
I don't know, but I hope so. I think it'd be cool to see a horror movie in this
Yeah, I mean, he did the first
timeline,
movie.
in this multiverse.
Yeah, he did the first one, so he's just
he
coming
did the
back.
first Doctor Strange, but it wasn't spooky. I want to see a spooky
Scott,
movie.
it's Derrickson. Yeah, he did Sinister. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's gonna be more of a horror movie, which would be cool, especially because she's like she can go batshit insane. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that they can just get weird with Doctor Strange now. That's the movie I'm most excited for.
Yeah, I feel you there. I'm right there with you.
Then after that, we've got Loki. I don't care. Then What If?
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
So the What If
that's
is probably
animated.
gonna
It's
Okay.
animated, and it's
And
just like,
is it
hey,
just gonna be more multiverse stuff?
no, it's like the first example they gave was like, okay, what if Peggy Carter took the serum instead of
Okay.
Captain America?
It's kind of fun, yeah.
Then Hawkeye, I'm weirdly excited about because it's based off of Matt Fraction's run of Hawkeye.
Can we talk about the logo for Hawkeye?
Yeah, that's actually what the comic book logo looks like.
Okay, it just kind of looks like FedEx or something.
Look up just look up Matt Fraction Hawkeye.
Okay.
The artwork is awesome. So
All right,
that run of Hawkeye is super cool. It's the only I don't read a lot of Marvel stuff, but I've actually read the Hawkeye Matt Fraction stuff.
Oh yeah, I see that now.
Yeah,
just
it's
based on
super
volume
good.
1.
Yeah, so it's really good, and his artwork is super cool. So
Okay. Hey,
and Kate Bishop's
cool.
in it. So yeah, I'm excited. That could be good. That has potential if it's based off that material. It'll at least be written well. Then the last thing is Thor, which we never thought that we would get. Taika Waititi's coming back, which is exciting.
It is very exciting.
It's weird. I mean, I don't know how I feel about the Natalie Portman thing, being
That
female Thor.
Love
I
and
mean,
Thunder. And let's talk about that logo. That logo is straight out of the 80s. I love they're sticking with that theme.
Yeah, I like him,
great.
so that's a given. And people may not, I said I was excited for Doctor Strange. I know that movie's going to be good. I'm not worried about that movie. So out of all these that I'm worried about, I am excited. I'm most excited for Doctor Strange because
Agreed.
I think there's the most growth, and that will be cool. I'm not worried about Thor. I know that movie will be good.
It'll be interesting. Yeah, like you said, the Natalie Portman being the female Thor. It'll be interesting if they're going to keep playing off the, Thor has a broken ego thing.
I doubt it.
Or
I
what?
think he'll be. We don't know where he's going to be though, because he's with the Guardians right now. So that's going to be the weird thing: is where is he at?
Which is why, I didn't expect to see anything Guardians related on this list because I know that James Gunn is doing Suicide Squad first.
Yeah.
Before he does this, so it is odd to see. Because I think a lot of us were wanting to see an Asgardians of the Galaxy or like a little.
Well, that
romp
still
with,
could happen though. That's the thing.
It'll just be weird where it happens in the timeline because he left with them. So what is he going to have a movie?
Unless this is in between. Unless this is after Ragnarok or something. I don't know.
I hope not. I hope the rest of
they've got to go forward. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope the only
other
one
than Black
that's
Widow,
back is Black Widow. I hope they.
And Eternals could technically probably be before.
and
it could be
fine.
in its own thing.
As long
and obviously
as it, builds towards something in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, yeah, and then they also, going forward, they, obviously Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther 2. I'm surprised, honestly, not to see Black Panther 2 in here.
Yeah, same.
And obviously the phase is only going to be 2 years as opposed to 3 years. So they're going to have shorter phases. So
I'd say, I'm sure year 3 we'll get a Black Panther. We'll get the next.
Well, yeah,
Spider-Man,
that'll be Guardians. I think that'll be the big stuff. And Kevin Feige kind of said that this is beginnings. That's why there's no Avengers.
Yeah,
they want to set these characters up so that way the next phase.
That's good.
And that's
they know
cool
what
because
they're doing because
and at least this is all new. I'll say that after Endgame, it's nice to have shit that's just we don't know what's going to happen, and it's kind of fresh.
Reset.
It's
an
fresh.
Actual refresh. Yeah.
I'm glad there's no Captain Marvel 2 in here. I'm glad that stuff is after that. I'm glad we at least get a 2-year break from the stuff that we know, and we can kind of just start building new stuff. But overall, I think it's kind of underwhelming. If I'm looking at movies that I'm excited for, but that's fine, because I think
they kind of need that rebuilding period.
We need a break. I think we need a break.
Yes. If we're gonna build towards the next big bad, you need to start out slow and. Because we just got off a mountaintop.
Well, we talked about Galactus.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be it. With him,
they're doing space stuff.
Well, they're doing Fantastic Four. That was the thing he announced. He said, we're doing Guardians of the Galaxy, this, that, and Fantastic Four. So that Fantastic Four will be in the next phase. So if they're in the next phase, that's Galactus. It
How
has
long
to
do
be.
you think that this Marvel universe can continue? You know, like,
I
do you think it can go through 2 of these big phases? Like
I
if they do
think honestly,
Galactus,
I think that's it though. I think
so too.
Galactus
I really
is
do.
Galactus is too big.
Yeah.
Almost.
Well,
and,
even just the actors and like how old they'll all be by the end of it. Because
well, I mean, you could do Galactus with anybody. I mean, if the X-Men are there, because the thing is, the X-Men have to be
true. They can
to be there for Galactus. I think they're an integral part to Galactus. So you have to have the Fantastic Four. You have to have the X-Men.
Yeah.
I also don't think the phase will be as long. I don't think it's going to be a 10-year thing. I think it may be.
I don't think it needs.
I think it'll be like a 5-year thing. I think we'll have this
yeah.
phase. We'll have another phase. And then maybe a year, maybe 3 phases. I think that'll kind of be, kind of what we had now, but I don't think they won't be 3 years long.
Yeah, so like 5 to 6. I mean, we'll have
they'll
to
be
see
2 years long,
I think,
so
I think
it'll
we'll
be
need at least 1 or 2 Avengers movies in between.
See, and I don't know
or whatever they call it, whatever they call.
I think we'll get 1.
You think so?
I think it'll be the final. Like I think it's going to be this phase, another phase, and an Avengers movie in that next phase.
Big tie up
because they have to. I think the X-Men and Fantastic Four are going to be in those movies.
Yeah.
So, because you're not going to have Captain America, you're not going to have Iron Man, you're not going to have any of those people. So they need characters to be in there. You need, Reed and Sue Richards. You need those people, but also without Iron Man, Reed Richards is that next person.
Yeah.
So he can take up Iron Man, he could mentor Spider-Man. I mean, there's things that could happen, they're in the same city. So it makes sense. Like the next Spider-Man being kind of coinciding with Fantastic Four would be cool. If Spider-Man's in Fantastic Four, I think that's what'll happen. I think he might be in that movie.
That'd be fine.
So we'll see. And then they also announced Blade. So kind of disappointed that Wesley Snipes is not in it, but
oh yeah.
He might be in that movie in some capacity.
Kind of weird that we're getting the dude who played. I cannot pronounce his name. Just based on reading it. I'm sorry.
He was in Luke Cage.
He was a villain in Luke Cage. Kind of weird.
I think from what I was hearing from somebody else, they were like, yeah, but he wasn't super established, so you could make him a character. And it's not like the dude who played Daredevil, where you're like, that dude's Daredevil.
Right.
Like
that's fair.
And we also. We don't have any Deadpool news, so there's stuff. That stuff I think will all come. I don't think we're gonna get Deadpool in the next 2 years. I think it's gonna be a while.
So I will say, back to just real quickly before I lose the thought, back to the Fantastic Four and the Spider-Man thing. It is sad that everyone now knows the identity of Peter Parker because we missed a real fun moment when there's a time when he teams up with the Fantastic Four, and he's Bagman. Because he loses his suit, and so he's like, well, can I borrow one of yours? And they're like, yeah, sure. He's like, well, I need a mask. So he just cuts out some eye holes.
Yeah.
So he's wearing a Fantastic Four suit and a bag head, and he's Bagman.
I was so happy when they put that in Spider-Man, the game.
Yes, I know. And that's why it's sad. I mean, I guess we got...
that could still happen, though.
What do they call him? Monkey? What was he in the latest movie? It wasn't Spider Monkey. It was like Monkey something.
It was something. I can't remember what it
was.
was.
It was funny, but I don't. That'd be a fun moment. They don't have to do it, but
I mean, but it still could happen.
It could happen.
So that's all of that stuff. So obviously Warner Brothers wasn't there, so we don't know what DC stuff's gonna be happening. I guess we'll find out. Later on what's going on there. I'm excited for Wonder Woman 2.
Night Monkey.
Night Monkey. Yeah, that's right. So I think that's it for me. I don't really have anything else. That's kind of everything I did. I got my notes here. I know this is random. I'll rattle it off real fast. So I was reading a little more about that Dragon Ball Kakarot game.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was at Comic-Con and the anime thing. And apparently you're going to be able to play as not only Goku, but Piccolo, Gohan, and Vegeta.
Yeah, I did see that too.
So, yeah. So that seems cool.
Krillin and Yamcha and Tien and those.
They're like support characters. Yeah. So I'm super excited for that. I just need some more Dragon Ball in my life.
That's
it seems
true.
absent. It seems very absent.
Very
lately.
absent. Hey, have you seen the latest chapter of the manga? I just saw that something. I haven't been reading the manga. I was hoping to have it translated to anime sooner than later. But it's weird that they're continuing on with this whole Moro thing, but there's no sign of an anime.
I'm trying to find out what volume they like is after the Tournament of Power, so I can get that and read from there. So I just need to look that up in
I keep
order
seeing.
them.
I'm a fan of a couple pages on Facebook, so I keep seeing little things, and it's all spoilers. So like, I don't know. Like won't get to experience it.
It's also not the same, man. I've never been a huge fan of mangas because it's like it's not the same. I'd much rather see Goku fight.
But the latest thing I saw, which again, I guess if you don't like spoilers for Dragon Ball, then and who knows if it'll even happen. This might.
It'll probably be different anyway. With
Yoko
Taro being different, he always does different stuff.
Yeah,
so
I guess Vegeta's going to Planet Yardrat. So.
Ooh.
Yeah, instant transmission.
Yeah. About time he gets it. I mean,
it
damn.
makes sense. I just saw the thing, like, he's riding with the Galactic Patrolman, and they're, like, setting a course, and he's like, no, not there. And they're like, okay, then where? And he's like, to Planet Yardrat, and that's how it ends. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, why didn't he do that before? He's been training in one of Bulma's spaceships anyway. Like, he should have just... He knows he wants to be stronger than Goku.
I think it's always been one of the things that Goku just has always had over him, so, like...
Like, wouldn't you want to fix that? Like, that's a huge... it's such a huge move for him.
I think it's because, like, sometimes Goku is more strategic than Vegeta, and Vegeta is just, like, all rage when he fights.
Strength, yeah.
So he wouldn't... I don't even think if he had it, he would never think to use it. You know, he would just be like, I'm going to pummel you, whereas Goku's like, no, as dumb as he is, he's a smart fighter.
He is, yeah.
So, like, he's more, like, strategic and being like, okay, I got my ass kicked. I'm going to use this now.
Right.
Like, he goes in like Vegeta in the beginning because he's just like, I can beat anything. And then he realizes, like, I can't beat everything. So, that's what he did with Jiren. And then he got smart with Jiren, you know?
It's true.
But, yeah. So, give us more Dragon Ball. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I know. I want more. Yeah, I need a constant anime in my life. It could be anything. Like for a while, My Hero Academia was filling that, and I think season 2 of One Punch Man is out, so I should just get into that. And
I've heard it's not great though.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
I've heard that you should just read the manga and just watch season 1.
Yeah, season 1, One Punch Man was great.
Yeah, it's great.
There is new stuff out for Attack on Titan, but I
just can't bring myself to care.
Yeah, I mean...
Also, that first season is so good that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm up to date on all the stuff, and I like the direction they're going. It's just every time new stuff comes out, I just kind of forget because I was into that show, like, 7 years ago.
A long time ago.
We
watched that show together.
Right.
That's how long ago it was.
It's like, why... Oh, great, season 3. Like, I mean, literally, I think first time I watched it would have been, like, 2012 or 2013.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, every time... I'm like, oh, yeah, I should care about that. And I kind of do, but I also kind of don't.
Well, I think I'm actually going to go back because Giant Bomb has like a podcast, All Systems Goku, where they watched Kai, Dragon Ball Z Kai. So Kai's I think I'm going to start.
I bought Kai the last chapters because I've never actually seen all of the Buu arc. So I should watch
really?
that. What am I doing?
Well, why don't we do that?
I forgot that I own that. Yeah.
I own all those. When we do that, we can watch that and talk about it.
That'd be fun.
So yeah, let's just do like I guess we could just do like 2 or 3 episodes. I mean, I guess we just need to give ourselves a limit. Yeah.
Yeah, I could probably. Yeah, I can manage that.
Let's do. I guess let's do 3. That's an hour.
All right.
Roughly. Yeah. So if you guys want to watch that with us, I guess that's.
Yeah. So we're gonna do the. Yeah. It's
been a while.
Kai, the last chapters. I don't know what episode that starts on, so we can give more of a detail. I can give me 1 second. Stall him.
Okay, I'm about to say I have it back there also. But you're closer than me. Yeah. So, as always, if you guys like what we do, join the Patreon. Hopefully one day it'll pay the bills and we can do more stuff for you. I'm looking into doing some possible YouTube stuff or Twitch stuff so we can do some streaming stuff and do some stuff like that. Maybe another podcast. With some like an interview style thing with some indie developers that I know and maybe some people that do music and stuff like that. So that's some stuff we're looking into. But other than that, I think that's what we've got. And, if you've got any ideas for like a game club type thing you do or animes that we should watch or movies that we should watch, just let us know on Facebook or Twitter or in our email, FetchQuestion. FetchQuestionPodcast@gmail.com. I'm still stalling and
All
stalling
right.
and
It
stalling
starts- oh my
and
God.
stalling.
I hope that was good content. I literally
Hey.
stepped away. So
I
don't
just
know
did all
what.
our Patreon stuff, so we're
Oh,
good.
fantastic.
Yeah, I did
That's
the
perfect.
end. So what episode
Yeah,
is
so
that?
that starts with episode 99.
Okay. All right.
So-
Yep. So we're gonna start on 99, and we're gonna do 3 episodes. We'll do that every
Yep.
week, and we'll talk about it and get through it because I was gonna do that anyway. So I mean, the beginning
Perfect.
of that is Great Salmon anyway.
Yep,
So
Great
I think
Sandman stuff.
I think it's probably pretty boring. Boo doesn't come for a while. So
Yeah, I literally know. I've seen some of the Super.
I mean, you
Boo
get
stuff.
Videl.
I've seen
I
some
mean,
of the Kid Boo
so-
stuff. I've seen tiny bits of. I've seen just clips of, Videl and Great Saiyaman. So
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, it'll be all basically new to me.
yeah, so I'll give us something to do. Other than that, that's all we got this week. So do all the things as always. Until next time, I've been Chris.
And I've been Zach.
Bye.
Bye.
You just listened to the Fetch Weston something or other with audio. Like, subscribe, or something.
Oh, darn, I like you. I
Not
like
me,
you.
you idiot. The podcast.
I like you plenty.
Join their Patreon or something. You gotta give them money to do shit. I don't know.
I ain't even know what the Vegemite game is.
Me neither. Just give them money. They do something real nice for you each month. It's real great. Thanks for listening.